My name is Dalton, a former high jumper, three-time Olympian, European champion, Commonwealth Games champion, board director of London 2012 Big Team, bringing the Olympics to London. Welcome to the Dalton Grant Academy show. In this series, we'll be having special guests talking about a wide range of topics, having the right mindset, overcoming various obstacles in your life.
Today's show is sponsored by Argon Utility Solution, your independent gas main service and meter installation specialist. To find out more about them, please click their link in the description below.
Hi everyone, we have a great show lined up for you today. It's a person who actually was part of London 2012 inspirational video, bringing the Olympics to London. I'd like to introduce, no further ado, Siphiwe Mbata. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mr. TG. Thanks for having me on the show.
Give an insight to how you got involved in being part of the video.
So I'm Siphiwe Mbata from Johannesburg, South Africa. Currently, I'm a filmmaker by profession. And I grew up, acting in TV commercials around South Africa. When I was in primary, I didn't know anything about the film and television industry. A gentleman came over to my primary school and he had just started an acting agency and he was looking for people who could join the agency. So in primary school, I was one of those people. Whenever we had to do a theater play or a school play, I would be the one putting it together. I would be the one helping my group to win. So my teacher at the time recommended me to this guy. And then I joined the agency, and then I started going to auditions. And then there was an audition for the London Olympics inspiration film. And then I didn't know much about it at the time. I just went to audition, and then I was selected to play the lead. And I remember we shot the TV commercial in Soweto, in a township called Orlando. Fast forward to a few months later, I hear that London has won the Olympics. And then I'm being interviewed by journalists asking me about my experience, and then I was told that I would travel to London in 2006.
Was you sporty? Was the Olympics there to inspire you to be successful to try and bring the Olympics to London, or was it just that you just wanted to be an actor and that's what you're trying to pursue that career?
At the time, I was interested in acting, and I was not into sports, but my experience, being in London 2012 actually inspired me to love sports. I fell in love with sports and I started following, Olympics. And also my experience with being, part of the London Olympics 2012 film actually inspired me as well to go and study film and television, because after my high school, I studied film and television at AVDA, a film school in Johannesburg. If I was not a filmmaker, I would have went into sports.
Give us an insight. What was it like when you came to London? The people that was in the video. Did you meet any famous people? Did you meet royalty? Who knows? Give us an insight, please.
Coming to London was a dream come true, And at that time, I hadn't been to any foreign country, so it was my first time, leaving South Africa. I had been to other provinces in South Africa, of course, but I hadn't left, the country. So it was a great opportunity. And LOCOG, the London Organizing Committee of the Olympic Games, they paid my flight ticket, and not just me, but also for my dad. We traveled with my father, to London in 2006. It was a great experience, I remember we landed at the airport. They picked us up, and then I went to see the London Eye. I went to Highbury. It was still the Arsenal stadium. Arsenal, it's a team I support. They were still at Highbury. but but now they've moved to the Emirates, of course. It was a wonderful experience. I actually met Arsenal legend. I even have the magazine, that Arsenal magazine that I was featured in. I still have it.
You said Arsenal legend. You didn't mention him. You don't say a legend and don't mention a legend. Who was the legend? Come on, the viewers want to know.
Can I show you the magazine, the one that I'm talking about?
If you have it in front of you.
So the legend that I met is Paul Davis.
So you were very young there. So what age was you there at that time?
I was 13 years old at the time.
13. Wow.
Yes, I was 13.
That must be a great impression for you in your life at 13, coming to London.
Yes.
Your favorite team or your team that you support, Arsenal, meeting a legend like Paul Davis. So Low Hog paid for your father and yourself to come over, and you haven't even been out the country. Amazing.
Also, we went to Buckingham Palace, but we didn't go inside. We actually took pictures from the gate. We also went to the Parliament as well, and then I met the late Miss Tessa Joel. She was still the secretary of the sports, arts and culture. I met her as well. I took a picture with her. I also met the mayor, the former mayor, Mr. Ken Livingston, as well. I took a picture with him. Then we met Lord Cole. I was interviewed by Evening Standard. I still have that article as well. They framed it for me. I still have it. So it was a beautiful experience. I went to schools around the UK. I was interviewed by magazines. It was a great experience, and I learned a lot. And what's interesting though is that many people from South Africa didn't know that a South African helped, London to win the Olympics, And even today, I feel like many South Africans don't know that a South African was part of, helping, London to win the Olympics, which is sad, honestly, because I feel like, it was a big thing, not just for me, but for the country as well, as a whole.
Great. We'd like to thank you. Obviously, I was a board director of London 2012. I met you there. So we became great friends over the years. Now, did you have any role models in your life, people that inspired you?
I would like to touch on what you just said now. So I went back to London as well in 2012. So Locock again paid for me, and this time I came with my mom. That's when we met also the people who were part of the committee, people that were selected by London, like your Miss Amber Charles and other young people.
They're the ones when there's a lot of young kids from the surrounding boroughs that went over to deliver a great presentation to the world for us to support the biz. It was all about the youth, and that's what the legacy about London 2012. It's not just the youth of the UK. We wanted to inspire the youth of the world.
Yes. So I met them as well when I came there in 2012, and then that's when I also met you. And then after we met, we've been in contact, since 2012. We've been great. You've become a mentor, you've become a friend, you've become like a brother, you've become like family.
What gave you that desire to take on challenges, especially like you were saying, you're coming from Soweto, which is a deprived part of South Africa, and you have that energy and that passion? Would you say it come from your family? Was it what? Can you give us an insight?
Yes, actually, my role model growing up was my father, who passed away in 2012, because when he grew up, his mother passed away, I think, when he was 7 years old. So, and then his dad, back then, black black men were mostly working in factories, firms, and they would work and, you know, be away from their families, you know, for a long time. So, you know, my dad didn't really, you know, see his dad much when he was growing up. Yes, the father was, you know, in his life, but he had to hustle for everything, you know, that he achieved. So he worked hard. You know, his mom was not there, his father was not there. You know, it was one of those things that he told me that if he didn't hustle, he would go to bed with an empty stomach. You know, and my dad, even when he was a teacher, he would still do other jobs on the side jobs. You know, um, he was a fighter. You know, he was someone who he worked extremely hard. You know, from not having nothing. I mean, I didn't go to schools in the township. I went to schools in urban areas, you know, around you know, Johannesburg, you know, and he worked hard to put me in those schools. And even the film university that I went to, it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. A lot of people dropped out because it's a private institution, film university. Roughly, I can say it's about maybe £10,000, if not 10,000, or maybe £8,000 a year. You know, that's a lot of money. When you bring it to South Africa, that's a lot of money. It's about over 100,000. You know, and you know, he worked hard for me to go to that school.
So he was your role model. We could see he protected you. So in his life, where he didn't have that support, he wanted to give the support to his family, and he gave you that support. Supported you in your education. That's great. So how did you feel? Did you feel the pressures of, like, around the world, no apartheid, racism? Did he protect you? How did you feel? What's your experience in South Africa?
To be honest, when we in South Africa, as the new generation, a lot of young people, actually, we don't even know about the history of apartheid. We just read about it, but it's like, okay, no, it happened, but we don't really know much about it, you know, as to what happened. Growing up, I didn't experience racism. I feel like even a lot of the new generation, we didn't experience racism. You know, my dad experienced racism, you know, and even his grandfather experienced racism, you know, and, you know, he would tell me stories about what happened, what they went through, you know, and the challenges that they had, you know. But those are things that I didn't experience, because growing up, I had the opportunity to travel to study, you know, at an urban school. And during apartheid, normally you wouldn't have that opportunity, you know, as a black person, you know. So I didn't really experience racism. You know, I grew up, you know, I had opportunities growing up. If I wanted to get into media, that's why even at a young age, I got into the media space, and I was doing commercials. And on set, when I would do a commercial, there would be a lot of white people. You know, the director would be a white person, for example. And I've never experienced racism. I feel like we, the new generation, we are fortunate because of what our ancestors did. You know, they fought for us. You know, they fought. You know, the likes of the late, you know, Mr. Nelson Mandela. You know, they fought. You know, for and not just him, but the people who were part of the struggle. You know, we read about these things. You know, the Sharpeville, racism. Of course, it's there. You know, I mean, racism can be opportunities. You know, maybe we don't have the same opportunities, you know, as other racial groups. So it is still there. But I feel like we as Black people do also have a lot of opportunities in our country, you know, which is a blessing, because as a young person, you can run a business and you can succeed. Also in South Africa, we also see a lot of Black people succeeding, which is amazing, you know, for me, and it's really inspiring.
It's very interesting for me outside looking, and it's amazing that someone from South Africa, a Black person, haven't experienced, you know, racism. But that's great. But that's just your opinion. But there might be other people in Soweto that their family couldn't really give them that support. So I think, you know,
it could be a different insight through, you know, different people in around the country of, let's say, you know, South Africa. So it's a good insight what you're saying, because you're just speaking about your support and what your family gave to you, which is, I commend them. How do you generally prepare when, you know, you're going to work, or you call it, or, you know, you're looking for your next job?
With me, I come from a Christian family, you know, so I'm a believer, you know, I'm someone who prays. And then other ways I prepare is by, you know, watching a video on YouTube, you know, sometimes going on YouTube in the morning, you know, checking you know, funny videos. There's people who do skits, you know, that make me laugh. You know, just I'm a supporter of Arsenal, you know, so there's Arsenal Fan TV, which I like watching on YouTube. You know, just, you know, so watching things that are not related to media, to my field, you know, helps me to relax. Reading a book.
So even talking about prepare for the day, let's move on. Now you bought and supported us by being part of a great inspirational video by Ian Keller. What are you doing with yourself now?
2016, I started my production company. It's called Favor Media. And so currently I'm managing my film production company. I'm a writer, director, producer, and editor as well. I've, you know, written, directed, and produced over 10 feature films. And our business model is that we produce feature films independently, and then we sell them, we license them to broadcasters, you know, in South Africa. So there's a big popular broadcaster, it's called Mnet, you know, Mnet, you know, Mnet, that's the broadcaster that we normally license our movies to, you know. And then once they've licensed the movie, we are able to shoot more movies, and then we keep licensing movies. And then also we do get clients, you know, asking for us to shoot for them a movie. They will say they have the funds, and they come to us as a production company and say, can you please shoot for us this movie? And then we do cater that, and then we shoot those movies for them. We also do marketing videos for companies. If people are also looking for documentaries, we do documentaries as well.
Do you have any tough challenges that you had to overcome?
The challenge that I had was breaking into the film industry. You know, if, for example, you go the route of being a freelancer, you know, let's say you studied film producing, film directing, and you want to freelance, it's not easy to break in big productions. What I mean is production companies, they have people that they work with. You know, they've been working with these people for many years. For example, when they get a contract, you know, from a channel to say, go and shoot this, they already have people that they work with. They've been working with these people for years. So it's difficult for young graduates to break in the industry. You know, if you want to break in the industry, you have to start at the bottom. You know, you end up doing what you didn't study. For example, I remember when I was interning, I was driving around, you know, I ended up being a driver. I was running the company errands. They would send me to go and buy coffee. I would go and buy coffee, you know. But when I was doing this, I was learning, I was checking how they do things so that I can bring in these things in my company, you know. So the challenge is, it's not easy for young graduates to break in the industry. You know, it's tough. You know, a lot of young people, they end up leaving this industry. They move to other industries. And it's sad because you pay a lot of money at university and you end up struggling to get a job.
Was it expensive?
It was, because I remember at the time I was earning 1,000 rands, you know, a week, which is about 4,000 rands. Is it about 50 pounds a week?
Okay.
So imagine in a month, you're looking at about 200 pounds or less. And if this is excluding petrol, transportation, you know, so you end up, you know, you're getting paid, you know, small money, whereas you were paying close to 6,000 or 8,000, 10,000 pounds at university a year. Other young people, you know, they don't have that financial support. They take loans from the bank. And then how do you pay a loan if you getting paid small money like this? And, you just finished at university. So for me, I just saw that the route for which is better for me to take was being an entrepreneur. It was for me I remember we spoke, me and you, and then you advised me on starting a production company, and I saw that's the best route for me to take, owning content, shooting, owning the content, that's the best route to take to grow in this industry. Once you have a movie that's produced, there's so many platforms that you can take that movie to. It's not just broadcasters. Many people are making a living from YouTube, for example. From university, they really, really, really were trying to emphasize this thing of us being independent. When we leave film school, we come together with the people that we studied with. We come together, we form a crew, we shoot content, and that's what I did, and right now I'm even creating jobs for people that I studied with, people that I went to university with.
Brilliant. So have you had any bad patches in your life outside, of the arena of what you've been doing, trying to distract you? How do you overcome those challenges?
The toughest thing that I went through was 2018 when I lost my dad. I'm the firstborn in the family, so it was not easy. It was tough, for me and for my family. But by God's grace, we got through it. And also, it's not easy for a young, filmmaker as well. For people to believe in a young filmmaker, because when you think of film producers, film directors, you think of old people. People are old, but not young people. So challenges are, getting people to believe in you as a young film producer. These are challenges that you will face. And not just from outsiders, but even from people who work with you. Because imagine you are a young boss. That's what they call you, a young boss. And other people, you find that they are older than you, and they have to report to you. You face challenges like that. It's not easy for a young person, to break in the industry. It's not easy for a lot of people to believe in young people. It's not easy. And also in South Africa, the thing is, sometimes it's also about who you know. I'm the first person in my family to be in the film and television industry. No one in my family has been on TV. No one in my family studied filmmaking. When I got in the industry, I didn't know people. I didn't have an uncle that I would go to and say, "Oh, uncle, can you please give me money or to shoot a movie?" "Oh, uncle, do you know that person who can buy a movie?" "Uncle, do you know people who can fund us?" Everything that I've achieved, I had to learn for myself about the film industry. Even selling movies to broadcasters, I had to learn for myself. It was not easy. So challenges are there, but I just let the work speak for itself. I just do the work, and then the work will speak for itself.
We know that we couldn't have Olympics this year, the first time ever the Olympics have been disrupted. Pandemic. Let me know, how has the pandemic affected you or didn't affect you? How did you handle this situation?
And to be honest, it affected so many people in South Africa. People have lost their jobs. People, are struggling. And on my side, the pandemic, we had finished shooting a feature film, and we were about to license that feature film to a broadcaster, and the broadcaster, they closed, so they couldn't license the movie that we had just did, but they've opened now and they've taken movies that we've done. But that's how the pandemic affected, because we had to pause for that moment. I saw an opportunity. I was like, I cannot just sit. I was like, okay, let me do something that I can do at home, that's cost effective, that I can do alone, that won't require me to bring people, where I stay. So I decided to do comedy skits from home. I opened a TikTok account. It's growing every day. It's going to 10,000 followers now. I'm getting a lot of views. I started doing comedy skits, so it's a family. I call it the Solomon family. So there's the mom, There's the dad, there's the son, there's the gardener, there's the domestic worker, there's the uncle. I play all of these characters, you know.
Give us a preview to that sketch now, please. Please do.
Uh, you know how fathers are. You know, when it comes to taking out money, hey man, it's always a problem. You know, you know. So the father will say, "Hey, my wife, I don't have money to buy stuff. You know, can we look for options where we should buy cheaper? You know, we can buy the stuff cheaper. You know, and then the mom will be like, hey, my husband, don't waste my time. Don't tell me you don't want to spend money. You men are stingy. You don't want to spend money. You have to spend money now. And we're going to buy things which are important, you know, which are needed in the house, you know. And then, you know, the man will be like, okay, my wife.
Do you dress?
Yes, I dress. So with the mom, I put on a wig. You know, I put on a wig. Let me show you. Let me check on my phone. This, for example, is the son and the mom. You know, so this is the father.
Okay.
You know, and then when I play the mom, let me show. So with the mom, this is what I dress. So this with the mom, I put on. There's the mom. There's the mom. I put on a wig.
You got your lipstick on there as well.
I put on a lipstick.
It's nice that you know, through this time you don't take yourself so serious. You've gone out there being creative, and you took opportunity in hard times, and decided not to moan because it's too easy to moan. Great.
Yeah. Through these comedy skits, the company has grown. You know, people know more about the company. So COVID has been a blessing in disguise, because if it was not for COVID, I wouldn't have started these comedy skits, because I would be focused on writing a movie, producing a movie. You know, I wouldn't have done these comedy skits.
Right. So how do you see your career so far? How do you see yourself in the future?
I'm happy with where I am now in my career. I'm happy with the things we are achieving. In future, we will definitely produce like a series. I would love us to produce a series, like 13 episodes, and even a telenovela, you know, something which is about 160, 70 episodes. I would like us to do that. And also, we are moving to other provinces. We are based in Johannesburg, but we've been getting opportunities in other provinces within South Africa, you know, such as Durban, where we produce movies, you know, for clients. We'd also like to, there's other provinces in South Africa where there's no filmmaking at all, where, you know, when you get there, people appreciate you, people welcome you, because they don't know this thing. They, you know, they normally see it on TV. You know, these are provinces we are looking to move into. You know, also definitely doing a movie with Mr. Dalton Grant. We have to do a movie with Mr. Dalton Grant, you know, about you know, Olympics, you know, about, you know, being a high jumper coach, about the Dalton Grant Academy. We have to do something with Mr. Dalton Grant, and definitely we would like to do a movie with him in South Africa. Would like to do international content as well. Come to the UK to shoot content in the UK. So I just see growth. We are definitely growing, because we also have our own equipment as well as a production company, which makes things easier, because when opportunities come, it becomes easier for me to take that opportunity, because, you know, the company has its own equipment.
So Siphiwe, how would you say that your interesting life so far has molded you?
I'm also a father. You know, my son just turned 1. You know, on the 27th of September. Yes. My birthday was on the 28th of September, so we are just a day apart. So, you know, being a dad, you know, being in the industry, facing challenges, has really helped me to become a strong person. You know, my faith, you know, has grown, and I can see that actually challenges that we face in life are opportunities to help us grow, because without these challenges we wouldn't grow. So I can say now I'm a stronger person. I'm not afraid to take opportunities, because of the things that I've gone through.
Wow, great. So what is your fondest memory so far in your life?
Fondest memory has to be when my child was born, coming to the UK 2006 and 2012, shooting my first movie, which opened doors for many other movies.
So, with all your insight and what you've learned and your experiences, what can you give to some up and coming, actor or actress or film director that you can give them, that can help them, that they can take away from your experiences, that could uplift them?
Yes, that's a lovely question, Mr. DG. I'm actually busy writing my book. It's a film book called the 3-4 shooting format, which is a shooting format that I've come up with, the way I shoot movies. So in that book, I go into detail. I educate filmmakers about being an independent filmmaker. My advice to young filmmakers or people who are passionate about filmmaking is that just do it. Just start. There's so many platforms. There's film festivals that are looking for movies shot on a phone. You don't have to have equipment to start. Even a cell phone, you can start. It doesn't have to be a movie. Many people are doing story diaries now, where they put their camera, their phone in front of them, and then they start sharing a story, and then they upload it on YouTube. That can be what you can do. So I would say, don't wait for funding. Don't look at the government only. Even if you apply for funding, but don't wait for the funding to come to you. You must start. I got my funding for my movie after producing 4 movies, independently. I got funding on the 5th movie, and even if the funding I didn't receive it, I was still going to push. I was still going to do movies. I was not going to wait.
You have to push.
Yeah, and I know that's one of your that's what you do as well, Mr. DG. You also push.
Yeah. So, is there anything that in your life that if you went back you would change, or you wouldn't change anything?
To be honest, I don't think I would change anything, because if, for example, I finished at university and then I didn't intern, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have achieved the things that I achieved, because that internship taught me certain things as well. I learned a lot of things. So challenges that we go through in life, they teach us a lot of things. Maybe you are working in a job that you hate, for example, or you're not happy about. That job is teaching you something. You may not see it now, but in future, when you now maybe start your own business, you'll be like, you'll say, oh, I learned this thing. I remember I learned this thing when I was working. So I wouldn't change anything. I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with the progress that I'm making. There's a saying that I may not be where I want to be, but I'm making progress. That's,
Correct.
Yeah.
So on that note, what would you want your legacy to be?
In future, I would like to somehow build a studio in South Africa, a studio where people who are passionate about filmmaking can come. Also, a studio where we can have, for example, a cinema for independent filmmakers, because a challenge for many independent filmmakers is that they don't have places where they can screen their movies. Yes, they can produce content. You struggle to make money because there's a bridge between you and the audience. So I'd love to break, that bridge, and make it easier for filmmakers to be able to access their audience, whether it's doing it online, maybe creating an online platform where I know if I am an independent filmmaker, I can be able to reach my audience easily, whether it's doing mobile cinemas, because I believe that the money is in the people. If you can get the people to come and support what you are doing, definitely you are growing as a creator, So that's what I would love to do, to make things easier in the film industry for a lot of filmmakers. I would love to do that. Build something where filmmakers can come and work, whether it's a studio, where we can have sets in there, people can come, they can shoot, we can create jobs for a lot of people, doing workshops, educating, young people about filmmaking. These are things that I would love to do, A legacy is not just money. It's about how many people have you empowered, how many people have you impacted. If after 100 years someone can say, hey, there's a filmmaker that produced a movie who comes from Soweto. When I saw that guy's filmmaker, I was inspired. When I saw that guy's movie, I was inspired. When I read that guy's book, I was inspired to start. For me, that's legacy. Not about you having millions and living it for your family, but you impacting a lot of people, you bringing change in the industry.
It's nice because now I know the importance of content to you.
Content is very important.
Very important.
It's very important. Content is very important because what I love about content is that even after 100 years, your content will still be there and people will be able to see it. And with social media now, when you upload something online, it stays forever. That's what I love.
Anyway, I would like to say thank you for coming on the show and giving an insight to your experiences of life so far. I'd like to say congratulations on your achievements so far, and I'm sure that you will get many more in the future. So Siphiwe Mbata, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DG, for having me on your platform. Thanks for the viewers for watching this. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless, Mr. DG.
God bless you. And
today's show is sponsored by Argon Utility Solution, your independent gas main service and meter installation specialist. To find out more about them, please click their link in the description below.